Good morning, students. Welcome to today's class. So today we're going to continue with our discussion on the process of transcription, right? In the previous class, we have already learned that the transcription process allows the DNA to form the ribonucleic acid or the RNA. And we have also answered the basic question that actually pertains when we talk about the transcription, because there are two strands of DNA, and of the two strands, why only one strand is going to be used to act as a template DNA for the process of transcription. We have answered this question in the previous class. So today we will try to understand the mechanism behind it. But before going into that, few questions again we will try to ask and try to solve it. So first thing, what I'm going to show you here is this particular diagram on the left. So what you see here is the DNA double helix. Okay, and this DNA double helix is having a particular sequence of DNA, and we know that it is going to be made up of 4 different nitrogen bases, or that is going to form the nucleotides, that is A, T, G and C. Now these A, T, G, C, they are going to be present in a particular fashion, particular sequence, and that is going to make the DNA double helix. Now when the process of the transcription begins, you have to understand that the DNA opens up. So here what is going to happen? The DNA forms, basically DNA opens up, right? And only when the DNA is going to be opened up like this, like a we call this a transcription bubble, right? We'll be talking about that anyway. So this is called a transcription bubble, and that allows the RNA to be formed based on the sequence of one of the strand of DNA. Now, yesterday when we were talking about the transcription unit, we talked about the 3 components of a transcription unit, and I hope you remember that. That is your transcription unit. If I can write down transcription unit, we are going to have the promoter, we're going to have the structural gene, and we are going to have the
Terminator.
very good, terminator. So based on these 3, right, these 3 together, they form a transcription unit. And we also have learned that there are 2, when we talk about the DNA strand, there are 2 strands of DNA. One is called template DNA strand, and second one is called a coding strand.
Coding strand.
Very good, template strand and coding strand. Now can you tell me which strand is going to be used for actually making the RNA? Which strand is actually used?
It's a template. Template.
Excellent, excellent. You all are right. So it is a template strand that is being used for production or the formation of the RNA strand because of the rule of complementarity. Based on the rules, based on the complementary sequence of the template DNA molecule, we are going to get the RNA molecule. Now, here if you see, we are going to have the DNA molecules, and of these DNA molecule, one of the strand is going to simply act as the template DNA. So in this case, if you can see the sequence, right, I'm having a complementary sequence. Is A is going to be bonding here, base pairs, A with U, let me go this side, and C and G, A, T, UA, CG, UA, and the process continues. So here, this particular strand that we are talking about here, right, this one act as the template DNA. Agree? And this template DNA complementary sequence which is formed is not exactly an RNA. Instead, it is called a transcript. We are transcribing something, so it is called transcript. What is the transcript? Primary transcript. That is simply the mRNA, we can call it. But again, I would say this will undergo the processing. Now, this primary transcript is having a particular sequence. Now, why it is important? We know that for the genetic information to be actually useful, it is getting transferred in the form of RNA, and from RNA, it is going to form, of course, the protein. Right. So when we talk about the protein, how it is going to form the protein? By the process of translation. So with the help of the translation, this primary transcript forms a particular sequence of amino acids that are joined together by peptide bond, and that is going to be called as a polypeptide. Ashish, switch off your microphone. That is called the
Yes,
polypeptide.
sir.
So if you can see here, each three letter, right, each of the three letter in the primary transcript, they act as something called codon. We'll talk about that in a later point of time. It is called a codon, three letter, and this three letter sequence of the primary transcript, or the codon we call it, it represents a particular amino acids, which is going to be important when we talk about translation. So the sequence of the mRNA is extremely important on what kind of polypeptide are we going to prepare, or what kind of polypeptide is going to be forming. So now if we come this side, I'm going to have a DNA strand on top, right? This one is my DNA strand. So I'm going to ask you a question to all. Now, what will be the orientation of the template DNA? Remember, when you answer, you have to answer always orientation from where to where? Always from left to right. So tell me, what is the orientation of the template DNA? Here it should be 3 or 5, left side,
3, sir.
right? It is going to be 3 prime, and on this side it is going to be 5 prime. Now, why it is important? Because you have to understand that the enzyme that is involved, what is the enzyme involved here? The enzyme is
DNA dependent.
DNA dependent RNA polymerase.
excellent.
RNA polymerase.
Yes, very good. It's simply RNA polymerase, or it is called DNA dependent RNA polymerase. And this DNA dependent RNA polymerase, dear students, you have to understand, is going to polymerize only in a particular direction, and that is going to be 5 prime to 3 prime. So when this enzyme is going to work, it is not going to worry about anything. It is going to simply polymerize in 5 prime to 3 prime direction. It is going to keep on adding the nucleoside, trinucleosides, right? So a substrate here is going to be trinucleosides, and that trinucleosides are going to be added based on the sequence of the DNA. So the DNA, which is template DNA, must be antiparallel. Always remember, when we talk about 2 strands of DNA or 2 strands of like DNA and RNA, always you have to talk about complementarity. So complementarity and antiparallel nature. So if when we talk about antiparallel, if this strand is going to be in a polarity of 3 prime to 5 prime, the polarity of the RNA strand is going to be 5 prime to 3 prime, and that satisfies the basic criteria of the DNA dependent RNA polymerase being polymerizing in a definite direction of 5 prime to 3 prime, or left to R. So if you can see here, the A or adenine is going to form double bond with the thymine, cytosine going to form triple bond with the guanine. So now tell me, can you find a fault with the sequence that I have made? Can you
Yes,
find a
sir.
fault?
You, sir.
Okay, so
Sir,
A,
uracil is there.
exactly. So here what I have to write? U. So CGCA U. This is going to be
U.
anyway A, right? This is going to be A. Then this is going to be G, right? It is going to be triple bond. And now what I've done here is, okay, what I've done here is, these are the 4 different, the substrate what is going to be used. Enzyme is this one, and always you have learned that whenever there is an enzyme, there must be a substrate also. So the substrate here is trinucleosides.
Right.
Okay, trinucleoside. So these trinucleosides, 4 of these are going to be always added based on what? Based on the sequence of the template DNA. So if you just can fill up the next one, here we are going to get a U. So this U that you are going to have, this actually goes and gets added during the polymerization process that is going to be taken care by the DNA dependent RNA polymerase. So again, G here means C will come, T means A will come, and C means G will come. So the entire process continues. Okay, so are you clear on this part?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let's move on. These are the basics. I hope you all are clear on this. So from now, on, we are going to talk about the actual process. So the process here occurs in 3 stages. Okay, so first stage is called initiation, then polymerization, and finally termination. So we start with something, the enzyme. The enzyme is going to get associated with something, little push is required for the enzyme, and after that starting, it is going to continue the process, and finally a break is required so that the process stops. So your initiation is like the initial acceleration or initial push, and the termination sequences are which are there is like the breaks that is required. And during this process, a new transcript or mRNA is going to be formed. So let us talk about how the process is going to occur first in prokaryotes, and then processes are similar. We'll talk in eukaryotes what are the additional complexities, 2 major additional complexities, so that we will talk about. Okay, so let's talk about transcription in prokaryotes or prokaryotic organism. So as I said, 3 steps. So let us write down how it is going to go on. So in the beginning, you are going to have the regular DNA. Okay, so let's just quickly make this one. Okay, so let me make it 5 prime to 3 prime, and this is 3 prime to 5 prime. So when the initiation occurs, the first process occurs, right? It forms something called, right? So initiation, step 1, that is, it is going to form something called transcription bubble.
Sir, upper one will be 3 prime to 5 prime, no sir?
I can write anywhere, right? I don't need to definitely depend on the orientation. As long as one strand is 5 prime to 3 prime, another strand can be 3 prime to 5 prime. Why I need to worry about? If it is anti-parallel, it is good. So based on that, now we'll try to solve it. Okay, no problem. Don't worry, we'll solve
Okay,
that.
sir.
Sure. So now what is happening is, let me quickly make this one again. So now this transcription bubble that has formed, this is called transcription bubble. Now here the DNA strands which are present, they are now actually, okay, these all are going to be connected. Okay, they are not separated yet. So one, okay, again, I'm not going to count, just a diagram so that. Right, so 5 prime, 3 prime, 5 prime, this is going to be 3 prime, 5 prime. So this particular structure that is formed, it is called transcription bubble. Now what is the use of the transcription bubble? See, the RNA polymerase is there, and the RNA polymerase needs to access how many strand? 1 or 2? DNA dependent
One, sir.
RNA,
One, sir.
yes. So
One.
DNA dependent RNA polymerase needs to access only one of the strand, and typically these are all double stranded dsDNA. And when we are going to have the double stranded DNA, simply the RNA polymerase cannot come and bind and start the process. So to start the process, what happens is a transcription bubble is created, and this transcription bubble will then give access to the single stranded template DNA. And we know that of these 2 strands here, this strand, right, this strand which is having 3 prime to 5 prime direction, this is going to act as the template DNA strand based on the orientation, as simple as that. Now on this area, let's imagine on this area you will have, right, in this area you will have the promoter region, right? Promoter regions, or they're going to call regulatory elements. It is also simply referred to as regulatory gene. See, like typically what we say, gene is something that is going to give rise to a protein, we used to say, right? But although the regulatory elements are there on the promoter region, which allows the RNA polymerase to come and bind, simply many a times it is generally vaguely referred to as regulatory genes also. But here actually they are not going to produce anything. Instead, they are consisting of a certain sequences, and these sequences allows the RNA polymerase to come and bind to that area, right? In higher class, you learn about something called Tata box. Okay, now this Tata box is going to be typically -25 area. -25 means if the transcription begins here, that is going to be 1, right? And behind, if you remember, upstream, right? So your promoter is upstream of the structure gene, so that is typically -25. So -25 bases behind the starting point of transcription, you'll have a recognition sequence called Tata box, for example, and that will allow the polymerase to come and bind. So once you have the transcription bubble, right, it'll allow that. So after this, what is going to happen? RNA polymerase, or simply RNA pol, binds to the DNA based on what? Based on the promoter region or the recognition sequences. So once you have the RNA polymerase that is going to be bound, it is going to start producing what? It will start producing. So imagine your RNA polymerase is going to be attached here, right? So this is my RNA polymerase. If I say RNA polymerase, so once it is bind, it is going to start producing the new strand. Polymerization, very simple thing. So let's see. So your step 1, then step 2 is going to be polymerization, or simply called elongation. Now what happens is this RNA polymerase, okay, let me first draw this part. So let's see. So 5 prime, 3 prime, 3 prime, 5 prime. Okay, so now, as I said earlier, this RNA polymerase cannot initiate the process by itself. So the RNA polymerase transiently or temporarily, it binds with something called initiation factor or the sigma factor, right? So what happens to this? You are going to have the RNA polymerase plus the sigma factor, also known as the initiation factor, which will initiate the process of the RNA polymerization. And because of this, we are going to get the new strand of DNA, new strand of RNA, and this again will not be bound completely. Instead, it is temporarily bound again. So here you will have the 5 prime end, and this is going to be our 3 prime terminal. So one end is going to be 5 prime, the free terminal of the primary transcript. So this one is going to be our primary transcript. So this primary transcript is going to have a free end called 5 prime end, and the one that is part of the transcription bubble, that is going to be the 3 prime end. Now from here, let's move on to the next stage, and that is going to be termination. So we know that transcription unit, so the entire transcription continues within the transcription unit, and we have you have the promoter here, and let's imagine this area be the terminator region, right? If it is the terminator region, so here also we do have the terminator sequence, So what will happen is, let's see again. So this process, the transcription bubble moves towards the right side, and it is going to continue. And as long as it is going and it is not encountering any sort of termination sequence, the process of polymerization continues. Okay, so let's see here, continue. So it is 5 prime, 3 prime, 3 prime, 5 prime. So as I said, you're going to have the polymerization continuing. So it is going to be a longer sequence. So 5 prime, and you're going to have the nascent mRNA, right? 3 prime end. So this is my what do you call the primary. Are you people able to understand? Transcript. And then on this end, okay, you people are active. Are you able to understand or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine, fine, fine. So on this area, we are going to have the terminator sequence. So as long as the process is going to continue, and as long as there is this RNA polymerase, okay, let's say this is our RNA polymerase. Let's put it here also. Okay, this is our RNA polymerase. So as long as it is going to not encounter termination sequence, the process continues. So the moment it is going to encounter a termination sequence, it temporarily gets associated again with another factor, right? It is called a termination factor, or it is called the rho factor. Okay, now this rho factor, it is called the termination factor. So when the RNA polymerase is going to associate themselves with the rho factor or the termination factor, then what is going to happen is the RNA polymerase leaves the what do you call transcription bubble, and the primary transcript becomes free from this entire, because they become independent. They are actually separated from the DNA. So to start the process, it is the sigma factor called initiation factor that needs to be associated with the RNA polymerase, and to end the process, it is the termination factor or the rho factor that must bind to the RNA polymerase to end the process, to separate, to dissociate the RNA polymerase and primary transcript from the DNA molecule. So that's the entire process of transcription in case of the prokaryotic organism. Any doubts here, dear students?
Sir, doubt in the second step, sir.
Second step, elongation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so initiation becomes basically the process starts when you have the RNA polymerase and the sigma factor combines. So initiation means it is going to start forming, it is going to polymerize. So the RNA polymerase, the movement or the direction of movement is from left to right. So it is going to go on reading this particular frame, template DNA strand, and based on whatever sequence you have, as we saw in the previous case, whatever sequence we have on the template DNA, the complementary sequence, it is going to pick from A, U, C, G. Okay, trinucleotides, sorry, trinucleoside, and this AUCG is going to be used for the synthesis of the new strand, and this process will continue all the way till it is going to encounter the termination, and that is what is called the elongation step or the polymerization step. Am I clear, Ayushi?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any other doubts, students?
Sir, I did not understood the primary transcript.
A primary transcript is the nascent mRNA, or it is a simple, it is a raw RNA sequence that is created when we are going to have the process of transcription. We use the term primary transcript because the primary transcript needs certain modification, especially in case of the eukaryotic organisms. That is why instead of calling it the mRNA or mature mRNA, we call primary transcript. Process of transcription gives a transcript, and because the first one, that is why it is the name primary transcript. Clear, Ashutosh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now complexities. Eukaryotic, more evolved, more complexities, more headache for everybody, right? So you have to remember two more additional concepts. Now, let me tell you. Yeah, we need to remove this one. So I hope you are clear with this. If anything is there, you can always ask again. So when we talk about the eukaryotes, the process is same, right? So what you saw in the process here, it is the same. Initiation happens, elongation also happens, and there is termination also happens. That gives us the primary transcript that we are talking about. But the problem is here, there is not a single RNA polymerase, but instead there is at least 3 different RNA polymerase, and these are called, right? So the complexity, as I'm saying, complexity number 1. What is that? 3 types of RNA polymerase. Now, what is the role of these 3 types of RNA polymerase? Let us understand. First one, RNA polymerase 1, or it is called RNA pol 1. So the RNA pol 1 is going to polymerize the synthesis of rRNAs. Okay, rRNA stands for ribosomal. It is called ribosomal RNA. So the ribosomal RNAs, or basically these RNA, make up the ribosomes, and they are of different types. So the RNA pol 1, this rRNAs that are formed, they are of 28S rRNA. Then you have 18S rRNA, and you have 5.8 S rRNA. Now, I hope you all remember what the term S refers to in case of the ribosomes. Do you remember? Anyone remembers what is the S?
It's a 50S, 60S,
Yes,
something
yes.
was
What does the term
there.
refer to? What was the rRNA? Sorry, what is the S standing for? I think you have forgotten.
Sigmoid.
Not sigmoid.
Sir, Sidberg's constant.
No. Anybody else? Okay, let me tell you that. So,
Don't know, sir.
okay, it is called, S stand for sedimentation coefficient, Schwarzschild unit. I hope you remember now. Sedimentation coefficient or Schwarzschild unit to measure the molecular weight. In ribosomes, you had studied class 11th. Anyways, so these are different type of the RNA that is being produced here. The second type is the RNA polymerase 3. So the RNA polymerase 3, it is going to involve in synthesis of 5, I think it is going to be the 5.8 is here. So the 5S rRNA. 5S rRNA. Along with that, it is also involved in the synthesis of tRNA, or also known as transfer RNA, and another thing that is called the snRNA, which stand for small nuclear RNA, snRNA. Now we are left with the third type, which is very important in our discussion. That is RNA polymerase. I want Pol 1, Pol 2, and Pol 2. RNA polymerase 2. No, this is the polymerase 2. Okay. 1, 2. I think, yeah. Polymerase 3, polymerase 2. So here it is going to be involved in synthesis of HN RNA, which stand for heterogeneous nuclear RNA, and this is a precursor. Remember, the HN RNA is a precursor that is going to give rise to the mRNA at a later point of time. So these are the three different type of RNA polymerase which are actually present, which are essential for the eukaryotic transcription. Now, I just said there are two complexities. This is a complexity 1. What is the second complexity? Let's see that. So, complexity 2. Problem here is there is intron and exons. Introns are non-coding sequence and these are the coding sequence. So in this case, what happens? These introns need to be removed before the exons can be joined to give us the final matured mRNA. And this matured mRNA is going to be formed from what? From the primary transcript. So we have the primary transcript, and this primary transcript gives rise to the mature mRNA by the process of mRNA processing. So the mRNA processing will allow the primary transcript to develop or to form the matured mRNA, and that will basically remove the introns which are non-coding sequence, which will not be part of the protein production or the translation process. And that's how we are going to talk about it. Anyway, we'll talk about this entire process of RNA, the mRNA processing in the next class, the 3 steps. I hope you are clear with this. Any doubts you have?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, fine.
Sir, what about the mRNA polymerase, sir?
Sorry. mRNA?
In the RNA polymerization, what about the mRNA, sir?
What is going to form mRNA you are saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So as I said earlier, there is synthesis of hnRNA. Now the RNA polymerase 2 in eukaryotes, they form the hnRNA, which is called heterogeneous nuclear RNA. And these, as I said, precursor, matlab, this is going to form the mRNA. In future, this will give rise to the primary transcript, and that will form the mRNA. So we have 3 types of RNA. By now you understand that. So tRNA, transfer RNA, part of the translation process, rRNA, part of the ribosome, and mRNA or the messenger RNA, essential for this particular process. So now are you clear, Roshni?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I hope you are clear with these concepts. If you do have any doubts, you can reach me at a later point of time. So thank you for today, and let's meet in the next class with the next concept on genetic codes. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.